Hey YouTube, it's Hyperion. I'm going to get straight to the sound, but first check out my sound at synthmod.com at the link below, and follow me on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/theincrediblyhyped, linked in the description. Alright, so here's the sound we're going to make today. It's this Flume synth, and here it is in a composition, a track I was working on. Alright, and here it is soloed. Okay, so first, let's open up a new instance of Massive. And this isn't a necessarily difficult sound. The issue is getting the envelopes to sit right. You'll see what I mean here in a second. So first thing, let's open up some square saw waves and turn the wavetable position all the way to the right. And then we're also going to drop it by an octave. For now, let's turn off oscillator 3, and the most important part is the envelope, so let's get right to the envelopes. Let's turn on low pass 4 and route envelope 1 to the cutoff. Turn it up a lot, to be honest. Now the issue part of this sound is kind of how wop, 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 kind of how the format of the sound opens up. So we're going to make these plucks, both the envelope routed to the cutoff filter and the envelope routed to the amplitude. So drop the levels on both. And the thing is, we want the decay is going to matter how quickly it falls off, the sound falls off, or the cutoff, the high end. But the attack is really what's going to dictate how much it opens up and does that whomp, whomp in the beginning. You can have it kind of just start immediately and chop, but you kind of want it to open up. So we're going to make the attack on the first envelope just a little bit longer than the one on the fourth. And turn the decay down a bit on this one. And this is a handy thing to do. Let's go ahead and take a macro and map it to the attack on envelope 1. And we're going to call that attack. So by turning that up, you turn up the attack, so you can modulate that through your DAW and have real-time control of your attack. So let's say if you're building up to a course or something and you want to really accentuate that whop, 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 or you can just have it chop right away, whop, whop, whop. I mean, whatever suits your fancy. And let's turn the mix all the way up, mix 1. We only want it to be coming through this low-pass filter right here. Let's turn this one all the way to the right as well. And detune this oscillator by just a little bit, a few cents. And now, really to thicken up the sound, you want some reverb and a dimension expander to kind of emphasize the dynamics of these envelopes. So let's also, real quick, put a decay. Before we want it to kind of follow, since it's coming all the way up from 0, we get a lot of low end. Well, maybe not a lot of low end, but if you cut out the low end, it will be practically invisible until this envelope chops. So not practically invisible in a sense, but you won't hear the sound until the filter opens up, and the filter, if it's sharper than the amplitude envelope, the amplitude envelope will be kind of secondarily important. So you want the sound to open up, the loudness to open up before the cutoff, and letting in those higher harmonics, if that makes any sense. So now we're thickening up the sound. The reverb size doesn't really matter, but you want it a little bit wet, and then take the dry wet, or the dimension expander, turn up the size, and give it a little more dry wet. Another thing you can do that Flume is really big on is assigning LFOs kind of everywhere, because everybody loves when sounds they change over time. So let's take the handle for 5 and route it to the pitch just a little bit. We're gonna turn the amplitude very down, very far down, and let's route 1 to that. Actually, you know what? Let's make a new handle. So let's call this LFO. So this will dictate kind of how much the sound vibrates in a given span. Well, that's how deep the amplitude, and here's the rate. So let's turn the rate up a little bit. So now it'll kind of warble, or it'll give that initial little punch by superposition of waves. It'll modulate the wave a little bit. So you'll get a nice little fold in the the initial transient of the wave every time it's triggered, if you're doing short little Flume staccato stabs like I like to do. And let's turn on an EQ. Let's give it just a little bit of high shelf. Take away a little low shelf. The bass kind of muddies up, and if you're using a respace or anything like I am here, you won't really want that. So yeah, that's basically the sound, guys. Have fun producing. Remember to subscribe, download my sounds at the link below, and follow me on SoundCloud and Twitter on my social media that's connected to my account. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.